Hi guys, this is Michelle and Bonnie on our show Refining Fire.
Yes.
And we are so happy that you guys are watching and that you're joining us for today's chat. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what we think makes a marriage really, really last.
Yeah.
And we haven't just it's not just our opinions. We've actually just done our radio show a live broadcast where we had a nice long hour chat about it with a friend of ours, T. And some really cool stuff came up there.
Yes, he has amazing wisdom. It's amazing.
I often think, well, it's true that with age comes wisdom and stuff, and I've been embracing that a lot. When I look back, I can really say that I've learned a lot, and I would do things differently now than what I did when I was younger. But T just blew us out of the water completely with his wisdom. And
something that really stood out for me, what he said, was just when he was thinking of asking somebody to marry him, he really sat down and thought about Jesus loving, we're the bride of Christ.
Yeah, like what's his example?
Yes.
What's he going to model this against?
And something that he said that I've never thought about or even heard in a sermon was he said how Jesus prepared his bride while he was here, how Jesus showed us, what he can do.
Yes.
How he excited the disciples and the people around him about the future and what he can give.
This is where he's taking us.
Yes. Yeah. And that was just an amazing way to look at it,
And then obviously the ultimate of how he sacrificed his own life for us.
For the bride.
For his bride.
And how he came to this conclusion that if he's not prepared to try and live up to something that looks like that, he can't ask somebody to marry him,
Another thing he said, I don't think anything we said was quite as valuable. But another thing he said, which I loved, is the fact that he, like you said, he prepared and he did research and he spoke to his sisters and to figure out how the women's heads work, and obviously taking from them being a part of his life for his whole life. And he spoke to older people and he spoke to married people and he really did research. And another thing he mentioned, which I loved, was he said, if you make your woman really angry, and you see how she reacts in her most angry state, and you are prepared to deal with that, then you marry her. If you're not prepared to deal with that psychotic outburst, because some of us we get crazy, man. I know I do. She's the opposite. She's the quiet and gentle spirit that just says, okay, I love you anyway. And I'm like, I just lose my mind, and I'm praying now that the Lord's really been taking me through a journey of not doing that in my next marriage. But he said the way your spouse, and it actually goes both ways, man or woman, when you see them at their angriest, when that switch trips, are you prepared to live with them with that reaction that they have? Also, first of all, because you can't change people. Yeah. So never get married thinking, I'm going to change this person, or they'll grow out of this or grow up out of that. But also, he said, if you don't know somebody until you've seen them angry.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
So I love that.
I think one of the big things for me in a lasting marriage is if both parties are teachable.
Yes.
And if both parties, if we really seek after God's character, as I mentioned when we were talking on radio as well, a lot of the time we look to, we have to have confidence in myself or love myself or this whole self-love movement. But I've come to realize that we don't need confidence necessarily in who we are in God. We need confidence in God. We need to know who He is, what He does. We need to know the Bible, we need to know the Word to realize that our God is this almighty, powerful God. And once we get to really know that and trust in that, I think we react differently in situations. And we look at the world completely different. We look at our spouse in a different way. And we are able to have, I think, more self-control in life in general, which is a big thing if you're in a marriage. Of
course.
We need self-control.
That's what I need. That's what I needed back then. And no, but you're so right, Bonnie. And the only thing, it always comes back down to the word. And I was just thinking the word versus the world.
Yes.
Because the world is teaching us today to take care of you. If you don't deserve this, so walk away and don't allow people to hurt you and don't let people near you. Don't let people get too close. You know, everything is so focused on self-preservation. And you know what? Our Lord Jesus, the last thing he thought about when he, you know, someone once put it, him and the Father and the Holy Spirit were talking one day before the foundations of this earth. And they were talking and they were like, we need to do this. This is this thing that's going to happen. And for our bride, you're going to have to go and do this thing. And Jesus is like, oh, okay. And in that garden that night before they captured him, Jesus is there and he's talking to his Father and he's like, please take this away from me. Because now he's human. And the Father probably didn't say, oh, come now, get up off the floor. Don't be ridiculous. We've spoken about this. Like you knew this since like forever ago.
Yeah.
He probably just got on his knees in front of his son and said, it's okay, but we've got to do this. We have to do this. So the last person Jesus was thinking about
Was himself.
even before he came into and became flesh, was himself. The gospel is so the opposite of what the world is teaching
and
us.
the sad thing is that the word, which is the truth, is here. The world is here. And I've found that a lot of churches like find themselves in the middle. Like we're preaching we're preaching something. Something that's, you know, that is from the Bible. But we're adapting it to some extent. So I really think that we need to not just watch sermons. We need to sit down and read the word and get to know God's character. And once we know God's character, I think that will overflow in our marriages. That's something I think that will allow us to live a life and to have a marriage that will last and a life that will honor God, marriage that will honor God.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate point, is putting God at the center always. But some practical things that a few of our listeners that we posed a question on Facebook and some of our listeners made some comments. And one of the most prominent ones was communication. And we were saying on the show earlier that men have we're generalizing. A lot of men struggle to communicate. Yes. They don't want to talk about feelings and whatever. And they'll just be like, oh, well, what's wrong with you? It'll pass. Like, you know, I'm over it. Whereas the woman wants to and needs to talk. And sometimes we also tip the scale and do it too much.
Yes.
So girls can learn a bit to be still, be a bit still sometimes, and that's where we need to be led by the Spirit and know this is the place where we need to be still. And men must maybe be a little bold and just try and talk a bit more. And like T was saying, he would in his future marriage, he thinks something that would be great is every now and then, once a week, say, hey babe, where are we at? Is there something that's not okay with you? Is there something, let's talk about, and so he's basically suggesting open the platform make that room for pulling out all the stuff that's happening and to deal with it and to try and sort it out. Because what happens is we bottle it up and it starts growing and growing, and then a year down the line, one day one of us explodes and then we dump on the other one. And we actually murder each other with our words, digging out all this old stuff from the past. And it's actually so damaging and so unnecessary.
Yes, no,
so communication is a very, very big one. And other people I've heard often say, be friends.
Yes.
Be buddies.
Yes.
We forget that we're allowed to be buddies.
Friend.
Yeah.
He's my best friend.
Yeah, I love that you one day said, you know, you've got a very tight group of girlfriends and that's very special and it's something one must nurture. But one day, I think one of them said something about, I'll tell your husband, because she wanted to go home a bit early from a girls' night. And you know, just get together. And they blamed it on your husband, and you said, hold on a second, I just want you to know, I want to go home. I want to be with him and make him lunch, and you know. And they were like, oh, and you said, he's my best friend first. So I think that's very key, is to find that balance. And for your friends, if you have a lot of friendships, to understand, you don't have to cut them out of your lives forever, but hubby comes first, or wifey comes first. Same with guys, with their boys' nights and stuff. Or their careers. I think that's also often a thing that gets in the way of marriages. Men become so consumed and idolize their careers that they their wife's just like, please love me. Please look at me. Please listen to me.
Yeah, but guys, thanks for joining us today. I hope that you learned something. I always learn something from our chats because we can always learn from each other.
Yeah, we're always learning from each other. So just before we say goodbye, our time is up now. I just want to say an extremely heartfelt farewell for this show, Refining Fire, to my friend Bonnie. But it's like a bittersweet because I'll miss her, you guys will miss her, but she was given a fantastic job opportunity. And because we do these videos during the week, she will not be able to join us anymore as from next week. But the show will continue. But we bless you. Thank you. We are very excited to see what God's going to do in this new season in your life.
Yeah, and thank you for your time. I think the most special gift that we can give someone is our time.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
It means a lot to us if you guys take time to comment or to listen to our videos, watch our videos, listen to us on radio.
Yeah.
So I hope that all of you have a blessed week.
Yay.
And I'll see you guys again.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, we'll be seeing her. Watch this. You'll know one day what I mean by that. Bye, guys.